Welcome back to this guy's garage. Today's lesson is on small dent repair. You know, I looked all over this Mustang, and you think I could find a small dent anywhere for this lesson? So, I guess I'm gonna have to make one. Coming up. Episode 3, Small Dent Repair, Best Practices. For this, you're going to need an angle grinder with a backing pad on it to take one of these stripping discs, because you're going to need to strip your paint to the bare metal. The reason you need to strip your paint to the bare metal is to prevent bullseyes. In every lesson to date, everything we talked about was transitions. So what happens is, body filler, it's a large grain material. Spot putty is a small grain material, which is meant to fill a smaller gap. And you have your primer, which is your fine grade, which transitions out to your painted area. And if you just put body fill over paint, it's going to give you a huge bullseye on the outside edge of where you repaired that you'll never be able to get rid of. Everything that you put on top of it will burn it up and will give you that bullseye's ring. So around here, we don't want no bull. All right, let's get to work. So the first thing we need to do is find something to repair. So this is it. You didn't think I was going to smash my car, did you? So we want to keep our repair area small. So I got to grind right out to the crown of the dent. I have a wide variety of blocks and boards. You want to choose a block that's roughly the same size as the repair area. Too big. If you don't have a wide variety, you can use something as simple as a hockey puck, which is all we're looking for. Our block is be big enough to bridge the crowns. All right, now I have to back sand this. So clean off your work area. You want to make sure you have these you're able to transition from your body fill to your spot putty, have enough room without getting on your paint, because your primer is going to transition over it all. All right, let's mix up some filler. So I put some filler on my board. Probably have too much. Try to guess how much it's going to take to fill that up. Don't try to get it filled up all in one coat. Keep your filler to the metal area. Mix thoroughly. All the products that we use will have links in the description. Try to make sure that it's mixed thoroughly from the top to the bottom. Just use a spatula that's as wide as the area that you're trying to fill. Now I'm putting the edge of my spatula on the metal part, and I'm building up the middle where the dent is. Mixed way too much. Waste not, want not. All right, we're going to leave that dry and we'll sand it. I'm going to sand it by hand the same way you will be doing it at home. I'm going to give you a little tip here. Just before this sets and turns to concrete, there is a place where you can start sanding it, and you can save yourself a lot of work sanding hard body filler. When you can run your nail across it, you can just start lightly taking. When you can run your nail across it like this, you can start lightly taking the body filler off. And by the way, because I want to keep this small, I'm using a hockey puck. And somebody asked a question there yesterday about X filing or X sanding. This is a convex curve, so the curve curves out. So when I'm sanding, I'm going to be sanding with the direction of the metal, with the direction of the curve, because I want to keep that curve in it. So but right now I just want to take the top layers off. Anywhere where the sandpaper is touching right now is a high spot, and I want to make it all even. I want to make the sandpaper touch it all. I'm trying to stay within my boundaries where I've back sanded. So I'm getting to my outer boundaries where the dent is. And I may have gotten this in one bite. If you see any areas where your sandpaper's not touching, that means you have to keep sanding the adjacent area. All right, now I have 100 on the block. And I want to make my way up to 180 because my spot putty will only fill in a certain depth of scratch. And I'm trying to take it within 36 quick scratches. And again, professional products will bring professional results. All right. Give that a wipe off. Now, sand it with some 180, and I can put some spot putty on it. So next I'm going to be using a premium finishing putty, and this will get me a transition to these metal areas where I'll be able to prime into the paint to be able to create a smooth transition. So I'm just putting 1 dash of hardener across the top, mix it thoroughly. Make sure everything's a uniform color. Now this is finished to 180, and 180 is where I'll be starting sanding with, and I'll be finishing with 320. Actually, I may even work my way up to 400. If you finish your work, your primer doesn't have to do as much work, so then you're able to use a 1K primer, which will save you a fortune. Because using a 2K primer, it just costs you a fortune to clean out the gun. Again, like putting the filler on, I'm working from my metal area. Filling up the middle. Trying to avoid my painted areas. I mean, I got a little bit on the paint there. That's going to sand back, so it's not going to be on top of my paint. It's not going to cause me any problems. And I can always back sand this area even further when I'm priming. So when your hand no longer drags across, now this is just kicking over. So when your hand no longer drags across, it's ready to sand. So the biggest challenge with bodywork is knowing when you're done. So I'm starting with 100 grit sandpaper here. I'm going to put it on my makeshift block. And my goal here is for this sandpaper to touch every bit of this material. So when I start sanding, that's high. The goal is to make this uniform while keeping the contour of the panel. So I'm going to be X-sanding it, going with the length of the panel. With the goal being to get the sandpaper to touch every bit of it. Not work at one area to make it, you don't want to be working at one area, you want to be going across the whole thing. If you're working at one area, you're digging. As you can see, as I keep sanding, I'm touching more and more of the area, and the coloration is the low spots. So I'm just going to be gliding over the top till I can touch it all. In any of these areas where I mark the paint, I'm going to have to back sand before it's primed. Now that my sandpaper is touching every bit of it, there's only so much transition I can get with 100 on my paper, so I want to transition these areas out. So now I have to move my sandpaper up to 220. You can go 180, 220, 150. We're eventually going to work our way up to 400 on this. I'm using 220, it's a closed cut paper. And now that I'm using 220, I don't have to be so careful because I can sand into my painted areas. And when you're sanding, be mindful to bridge the whole repair. And you can see here where I'm breaking through. And that's okay, because I can finish the top of that the same as this, but I can't create an edge with my body filler the way I can create an edge with the spot putty. This is a finishing putty. So I can still feel my edge here. Right around here I can't feel any edges, so this needs more sanding down here. All right. I have my spot putty sanded out to 220. I want to work my way up to 400. 400 will give me a transition onto my metal and from my metal to my paint. This is all about creating transitions. Waste not, want not. And with the 400, I'm now taking out my 220 scratches, and I'm making this smooth to 400. And the biggest trick is knowing when you're done. And now it's okay to sand the whole area. You want to make this whole thing uniform for your primer. Another great tip to know when you're finished is take a cloth, run it across your repair. If you feel anything, you know you got to keep sanding. And if you're unsure, put a guide coat on it. And that's the 101 of a small dent repair, which turned out to be a fairly large dent. Let the metal show you where you need to work. So that's the 101 on small dent repair. We covered priming in episode 2, so the same procedure takes place. I want to keep these videos straight, short, to the point. Each lesson is a lesson on its own. So thanks again for stopping by this guy's garage. Make sure you say hello to your classmates in the comment section down below. Great group of guys here. Don't be afraid to reply to anybody's comment. Never be afraid to ask a question. The only stupid question is the one not asked. So thanks again for stopping by this guy's garage. You can hit that subscribe button right there. That's the best way to help us out. Second best way probably is to give us a thumbs up. And you can watch another video right around here. There will be a playlist right here for this series, and we have other content as well. Until next time, folks. This guy out.